Hello, I'm Lise Wheel with Law&Crime. We're here today. We're going to take a break. It looks like they're taking a break there for live trial, for live coverage in the Tex McIver case. And I have with me a guest I'm very excited to bring, a forensics expert that you all know, very familiar to us here at Law&Crime, Joseph Scott Morgan. Hello there. Oh, I see you there with Skype, the magic of Skype. We've been talking together over on the audio, but now I can actually see you. Very welcome to Law&Crime again. Great to have you with us. Among your many attributes, you are not only an investor, but you're also with the Jacksonville State University in Alabama, and you forensic experts for many, many years. And I've got so many questions to ask you. First of all, let's talk about the gun that was used here. Tell me about the gun and what give me some first comments right out of the gate on the gun.
This weapon is a very unique weapon. It's a 38 caliber Smith & Wesson, what is commonly referred to as a snub nose, and has what many people at home might not be familiar with. It's called a shrouded hammer. They display this weapon, and if we'll think about a standard revolver that has what we refer to as a spur hammer on it, like this, it's not in that kind of configuration. The actual hammer is down in a little shroud right here, and you have to actuate it with your thumb. This falls into a class of pistols that are pocket pistols. The reason it doesn't have this spur on it is so that you can take it, put it into our pocket. If it has to be withdrawn, it's not going to catch on clothing, any kind of fabric. It's easy to defend yourself with, and it's easy to conceal as well. Because of this reason, it's a bit more compact than, say, other weapons that people are commonly used to seeing.
And does it, the defense here for Tex McIver is that, yes, he shot her, but it was accidental, that he was in the back seat. And, well, shoot, I'm sorry, we've got to go back to court here. We'll be right back with Joseph Scott Morgan, but we've got to go back to live coverage in the Tex McIver case.
When Mr. McIver asked you whether or not there were any surgeons there at the hospital, what was your response?
I cannot remember my response, but most likely I answered him correctly.
Which was?
I guess I don't know what I said.
Okay. Were there surgeons at the hospital that night?
I wouldn't know.
Why not?
Because I was not taking care of the patient primarily.
Okay. But generally speaking, are there surgeons at the hospital at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on Sunday?
At our hospital?
Yes.
It would not be a guarantee.
Okay. Okay. And what Mr. McIver told you when you did speak to him, though, is that his son was a trauma surgeon, right?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Sam, any follow-up? Did he say, and maybe you answered this a long time ago, but did he say where his son lived?
I thought he may have said California.
California. And the question about when do you want to see your husband? Early in the ER, late in the ER? The time that she's in there?
Much later.
Much later. She's already hooked up to IVs, hooked up lots of tubes going in and out, right?
Yes.
The clothes have been taken off, right?
Yes.
She's in pain, correct?
I do not know.
You didn't hear her saying anything about my stomach hurts?
No, I did not.
Okay. She's on her way to the OR to be treated before Dr. Hardy asked that question, correct?
Not correct.
Not correct. Well, I don't mean out the door. The decision had been made to send her to OR because there were surgeons there, correct?
That would have been Dr. Hardy's decision. It would not have been going through my head.
I wasn't asking what was going through your head.
Okay.
She went to the OR that night, right?
Eventually, or early morning. I don't know.
There were surgeons there, correct? Or you wouldn't go to the OR, right?
Sir, honestly, I had nothing to do with surgeons or what time she went to the OR.
Okay. My question was, if you go to the OR, doesn't that mean there were surgeons?
If you go to the OR, yes, someone will be there to receive you.
Okay. And you know she went to the OR?
I know she eventually went to the OR.
And you know she had surgery?
Yes, when I left work, I knew she was on her way to the OR or in surgery.
Okay. Doctor, thank you for your time. You're free to go. We will be in recess. Let's try to get back together at 1:20. 1:20. Ladies and gentlemen, during the break, you're free to go wherever, eat whatever you're going to eat. We'll talk about the case, no outside research, and we will be back in here with the state's next witness at 1:20. Please. All rise for the jury.
Hello, I'm Lise Wheel. I'm back with Joseph Morgan again. Joseph, I'm just starting to ask you the question again about the gun. You had described the gun and the details about the gun. Now, I want to ask you a follow-up question on that. The defense here for Tex McIver is that, not that he didn't shoot her, he admits that, but he's in the back seat of this vehicle as it stopped, and he says that he, had some kind of disorder, sleep disorder, whatever. He's startled. And he has his gun in the back, and he accidentally shoots Diane, who's sitting in the passenger seat. From your forensic ability and your experience over all the years, tell me about that and the gun and the way that it was shot and the way that it hit her in the back. What do you think?
It's reasonable to a certain degree, but highly unlikely is the way I would classify it. Let's keep in mind, this is a revolver. This is not a semi-automatic weapon. This is a weapon that if, say, for instance, you drop the weapon, it's not going to accidentally discharge, that sort of thing. What has to take place here, Lisa, is that the trigger has to be actuated. That means the finger has to be inside the trigger guard. You have to apply pressure to the trigger in order for this thing to initiate. And as we've previously heard, this trigger requires about 12 pounds of pressure to be applied to it. And even for the most robust among us, that's a significant amount of pressure. So I've had a real hard time trying to understand this idea of being fearful, which has been mentioned several times, and being sleepy at the same time. This leaves a big gap for me as an investigator or former investigator. It would certainly give me pause to consider what's the truth here. You look at this weapon, the capability of it. It's a .38 caliber weapon, and you have to ask yourself the question: was it his intent to shoot her, and is this the weapon that you would choose to facilitate that with? And I have to say, no, not on the surface I wouldn't, because the penetrating power of this thing is not great. We still don't know yet what kind of ammo he was firing, and that's going to be crucial here when the ballistics come out in court. But let's keep in mind, Lisa, the thickness of this seat. You're talking about, if I remember correctly, I saw one image of it. It has kind of a leather-like appearance to it. It has to pass through what we refer to as several intermediate targets. It's not like you're just standing in open space and you're firing directly at someone. This round has to pass through several layers of intermediate targets. That means the back of the seat, the internal workings of the seat. There's several metallic objects in there. Then back out the leading surface of the thing, and then enter her body. And that's quite a task for a .38 caliber round, if you ask me. Right.
Joseph, to answer potentially some of the questions that you've just raised, let's go to one of the nurses. She may have some insight on that. This is some of the testimony that we heard earlier. Let's listen.